copa do varal, os limão do quintal e a pasta impermeável com os documentos. Eu disse à filha como é que vai ser. Ela disse não sei o que fazer. Vem pra cá, bota ela no avião, que eu durmo no chão. Fica calma, não tem pressa, tudo vai se resolver. Quando eu vi no aeroporto, no seu rosto o desgosto. Será que é pra mim? Não vou me precipitar. Paciência é uma ciência, é o tempo. Vou descobrir.
Hello everyone, Tone Deaf Monk. Today I am going to be talking to you about my journey with a very cool product. This is a boutique amp DAC called LOAZ is the brand name, and Jonathan is the creator. With this one's called the ARI, and it's a portable DAC amplifier. And let's get into some of this. It's quite unique, and I wanted to share my journey with it. So this has a built-in DAC. On the back of it, there is a USB charge port. It does not have a built-in battery. On the middle, it has the DAC USB-C input. There's two lights here beside the input port. One is for power indicator, and the other one is the sampling rate. And on the other side is a gain switch, high-low. On the front, there is, I should have missed that. There is a single 3.5 single-ended input if you wanted to bypass the DAC and send signal in. And then on the front there is your volume control and your single 4.4 balanced output. That is the entirety of the amp. Now this one looks like you can customize. You can get it in different colors. You can get custom. Being a boutique brand, you can certainly do that, which is very cool. Inside of this is what's making this special. There is a Class A amplifier. That isn't so special as it is using the Photobond technology. This is using optoelectronics. What does that mean? Well, it means it's using light. Now, Jonathan wanted to keep a lot of this stuff close to his chest, doesn't want to reveal too much, and I totally get that. Whether it's using fiber optics, whether it's using a light bulb, I don't know. But it does have an impact on its sound. And so the goal was to make this amplifier a analog sounding Class A amplifier without the tubes. And I will say straight up in this little vid that goal achieved. Absolutely. Sound, how I would describe the ARI is incredibly holographic, musical, beyond belief, massive open stage. It is exceptionally clean, uncolored, pure Class A amplifier in all its goodness with an analog twist. Does it have tubey warmness? No, but it's fluidly smooth. And I'm going to use that word because that's the best way to describe the sound out of the ARI. There's also the huge advantage of not having tubes that are going to wear out, and I mean, it's portable. So, and later in this review, I'm going to also compare it to a couple others, and one would be the Kai Designs Tap 1 Pro, where you can't even really move that too much without it ringing away for about a minute. So none of that issues here. Now, in this next part, I am going to get into some comparisons to be fair. First up is going to be the Kai Designs Tap 1 Pro. Now this is a tube amplifier, and it's also, you can get it with or without a Serious Logic DAC chip, and it has two modes. It has tube mode and Class AB mode. In mine, I have now put in the Sparkos SS 3602s, and I'm going to go over some impressions with it with two different op amps as well. This mine is also it has a built-in battery as well, so that's the nice thing about it. There it is there. And it also can be used with a PSU2, which is basically a battery dedicated power supply unit. Very cool as well. So now I want to get more into sound versus the two, really. So on the Tap 1 Pro, I find the bass is a tad bit more punchy. But the stage is more open and spacious on the ARI. And this is using the Muse O2 op amps. So the more resolving and better natured ARI over top of the Tap 1 Pro is how I heard it. It has a crisper, less rolled off top end, cleaner mid-range, less compressed. The ARI's given me, to my ears, all the benefits of that tubey analogness, but with the resolution of a world-class Class A amplifier. Now, switching out of the Muse's O2 to the Sparkos, this was a game changer. The wow factor, first of all, these two get very close together. I'll be honest with you. When you put in the Sparkos, what happens? The mids become much cleaner, more resolving, and the details really get close together from both of these. So comparable there. The ARI is still clearly the superior amplifier when it comes to a transparent, fluid musical reproduction, a tad cleaner, darker background for sure. But on the Sparkos, the Tap 1 Pro still sounds more analog, more tubey, a bit thicker in the mids for sure. So if you were looking for a tubey sound, the Tap 1 Pro would be the choice between the two. Now, listening to it on my modified Hi-Fiman 400i's, the Tap 1 Pro has a ton more juice than and this is when I was powering it now with the single-ended input. So I was using my Astle & Kern Con Max single-ended out because it only has single-ended in, and it would send 2 volts into the ARI. And when I was listening to this, I wanted to first listen to amp versus amp. Okay, so there's no DAC involved up until these impressions right now, right? So this is just amp versus amp, no DAC involved. Well, other than the DAC that's being used in the Astle & Kern. With that, with the 2 volt input into the ARI, I could max out the volume control, and it's still not enough for me on these Hi-Fiman. So that was one thing where the Tap 1 Pro really has no problem at all. And I didn't even need to get to high gain, but listening to both on high gain, it's clear that the Tap 1 Pro has a lot more power on demand, right? And then the Tap 1 Pro, because it has more power, was clearly more resolving on the 400i's. Flip everything now with that. I found the bass now punchier on the Tap 1 Pro. So the Sparkos op amps made a massive difference. And then I switched over to Soft Ears Twilight, a single dynamic driver. I use that because I know it has a fantastic tonality. It's very accurate in its tonal character. And I'll say that the ARI and the Twilight are so good together. Synergy. Does it match the tubiness of the Tap One Pro? No, it does not. But what it does do is present a very smooth, natural presentation with standout clarity and resolution. On solid state mode, the Tap One Pro now, flipping over to take the tubes off of the Tap One Pro and put it on solid state mode, with the Twilight, I prefer the Tap One Pro. It's less thick mids and better treble. Sparkly top end, and comes through cleaner, more resolving, and a bigger, wider stage over the ARI. So I'm using a bunch of gear here, IMs and headphones, to get a really good feel, the sonic character of the ARI. So now I switched over to Project M from Dita Audio, and the Tap One Pro in tube mode with the Sparkos. So here now the ARI sounds more natural, fluid again, and I felt with... and I was using the Alpha Omega Omegas as well. Beautiful and uncolored, transparent, very lovely sounding. The Tap One Pro does sound more laid back, old school still, and that's the, interesting, even though I wasn't using the tubes. On solid state mode, it was the Tap One Pro was now the most resolving out of all the configurations. Definitely more over the ARI. It's not as smoothed over, I would say. Bass is punchier on Tap One Pro. And again, I'll say the word synergy because all gear is going to sound different on all different gear, right? On the Project M, the ARI is all day chill. But the Tap One Pro wins over the ARI with the Project M on solid state mode, bigger, wider stage, more resolving, piano. You Look Good to Me. I was listening to Oscar Peterson, right? It has a more natural tone, as did the treble and the bass on the Tap One Pro. Another comparison. Here, in this case, I was using the XDUOO XDO5 Pro with the ESS 9039S Pro DAC chip. So this is $799, very similar to the ARI in a price with the, very similar to the Tap One Pro with the PSU2, so comparable in price. And again, I was using the Hi-Fiman 400i headphones, and I was using some Dyna Quattro from Binary Acoustics. I wanted to see how hard it was to drive the gear with using both of those, and more importantly, using the DAC input, right? So I'm using the DAC in the XDUOO, I'm using the DAC in the ARI, and I'm listening to the synergy, or the combination, I should say, of really all of the components together, the DAC and the amp. I'll say to that same kind of conclusion that the ARI just doesn't have enough power to drive the, I think, fairly easy to drive Hi-Fiman. Not just on the single-ended input, but here was the takeaway for that. On the USB input, it does have more input signal, I would say. It must, because it does get a little bit louder, but still it runs out of juice. Whereas the XDUOO Pro can get so louder than you can handle on low gain. So, sound. The ARI is noticeably smoother, and a good pairing synergy-wise. If it wasn't for the driving power, the 400i's would be I would pick that up, and I would pick the ARI up and listen to that. Now on switching to these Dynaquattro IMs, same thing as the Hi-Fiman, just not enough juice to drive the harder to energize kind of IMs like the dynamic drivers and the Dynaquattro. Sound-wise, the XDUOO Pro has the greater clarity, resolution, kind of what I was expecting. Not as much roll-off in the treble, not as smooth in the mids as the ARI. The ARI does come through with that Photobond tech to smooth it out. It's a good technology implemented, but there's some shortcomings with this amplifier, in my opinion. And let's get deeper into that. Personally, it'd be hard for me to pick up the ARI over the XDUOO Pro for a few reasons as well. I mean, obviously, the $799 versus the $2,000. It has built-in batteries, multiple inputs, filters that you can use. You can't use any of the DAC filters in the ARI. Swappable DAC cards, swappable amps, and synergy. The XDUOO Pro would just pair with more gear, in my opinion, than the ARI would. I see that more as a specialist, right? So here's my thoughts to conclude this kind of wrap up here. I think the ARI is indeed a masterclass in engineering mojo, and comes to the playfield with a source, with a sonic signature that is really hard to fault. While synergy will play a massive part, not everyone will appreciate how the ARI renders music. It has a smooth, organic presentation that will immerse you into the music. Is it tubey? Again, no. Analog? Yes, is a better word, I think. The ESS 9039 Q2M DAC chip in the ARI, I think, was well chosen. With the resolving power of the ESS DAC chip and the Photobond technology, it works seamlessly together for a wonderful presentation as a sum of the whole, really. Using the built-in DAC is where I think the real magic in the ARI happens. Using the 3.5 single-ended input is kind of one of the weak spots of this DAC amp. Love to see a balanced input to feed it more juice. I'd love to see that. Love to see a status light on the front, not just the back. Using the ARI as a DAC amp is probably one of the best implementations I have heard. It's a beautifully sounding analog source. Very reminiscent of the flagship Hibby R8 II, the way it has kind of a natural fluid sound signature. As a standalone amp, it falls down against the competition, I think. I would also like to see ARI version 2 with a built-in battery or a dedicated power supply unit like what's in what Kai Designs uses, right? I think the goal of Jonathan with the ARI to achieve a smooth analog sounding amp, yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up. I'm not sure how the Photobond technology actually works with the ARI, or its limitations to output power, or it's just this implementation. But I think the ARI needs a much bigger amplifier section. I think it needs to double its current output capacity. I think it needs a balanced input to feed it more. And I think this is a awesome, great, fantastic, actually, first step forward with the ARI. And I honestly look forward to seeing more from this company in the future with maybe an ARI Mark II. Again, there's some shortcomings, but there is no doubt that the sound out of this little DAC amp is impressive. and how it renders music so naturally, so fluidly. I'm going to use that to wrap up this review. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you to Jonathan for the loaner of your wonderful little DAC amp and the opportunity to hear it. So I'm wishing all the best for you and your company. This is a great product. So good job. Thank you.